everybody. Welcome to Can We Say It? Beck, how you
Hey
going?
everyone. Hi Hen. Going
Hi.
good. Same old,
Same old. Still in
hanging
ISO?
in there. We're
Still
all
hanging
in
in there.
ISO. We're all in ISO. We're in ISO here for another 3 months.
And here everything's easing, is that a word? Easing up?
Easing.
No,
Yeah,
easing.
you're good.
Everything's easing up and things are getting back to I'm not going to say
Semi-normal-ish. A new
a
norm.
new normal. And they are easing restrictions because we are very low in cases, but that's really nothing. I mean, that's just by the by.
Right.
We're here today to discuss hindsight,
We
and
are.
it's very much on my mind, and I'm very excited to talk about it because I don't know if it's because of this whole global crisis slash collective participation of of the world that we're living in right now, which has brought this to the forefront. But I don't know about you, but I have learned in the last 2 months just being at home in this whatever you want to call it very
Space,
strange
right.
reality.
Strange,
I've
yeah.
learned a lot about myself, about some truths of others that I didn't expect. Then I've learned so much about that my instincts really are always right. And why did I ever doubt them?
I
And
think
I
especially
don't, yeah,
because you've been juggling like work and kids and everything, and I think you've had like it's been busy for you. There's been a lot on, even though you've been in a space, like even though you've been inside, a lot's been
yeah.
going on.
But
Yeah,
but also there's another factor. And yes, you're right. I guess I am juggling a lot. I mean, I always was, even when I was out and about. I still
right.
had those things to deal with and juggle as well. But maybe it's the fact that we're virtual a little bit, that, when someone's blind or deaf, their other senses kick in. Well, when you're virtual, potentially, with people, I guess,
Hmm.
or in situations, you kind of have to rely on your gut more. Now, I always had a gut feeling about anything. Like, I always get a kind of instinct, but it's sort of always a bit dim when I'm in the presence of physically in the presence of others, and I
Right.
maybe ignore it more than I should. As in, I'll kind of wave that feeling away and go, "Oh, it's probably nothing. I'll just give the benefit of the doubt." Well, I ain't doing that no more
I
because
can't.
I was
No.
right. And I was right. And, like, this is all about hindsight because it got me thinking all this stuff about feeling, because we're virtual and I'm relying on my instincts and my gut. Like, what's the point of hindsight?
I guess we're sitting with ourselves more. I mean, if we have time, and we're going either back to thinking of what could have been done or what should have been done or
Mm,
what could have changed or what decisions made you
yes,
get to this
that's
point,
right. Yeah.
instead of just being so busy in the outside world of just
Mm,
doing things and not being able to like really
that's
sit and
right.
think about it.
Yeah. And you see it playing out on the world stage, like me going through some things on a personal
Yeah,
individual level. I can sort of philosophize about the hindsight and what played out and what should have been done, but then it's playing out on a world stage with countries thinking, oh, in hindsight, well, they probably should have told that one, and we should have probably done this, but we
right.
right,
We should have
and
closed these borders
yeah.
then, or we should have stopped this, or we should have maybe, yeah.
and
Well,
and, and
they're
yeah.
going through it as these things haven't happened before, so they're just making decisions, and then
Mm.
it's of
Yeah,
what
and
they
then they
think
have
is
to
best.
learn.
Like
Yeah.
we do
Yes.
personally, we make decisions on what we think is best or what
Mm.
we feel is best, or and then see it play out,
Yeah.
basically.
That's right. So I guess we're talking today about, like, it's hindsight. What's the point? The definition of hindsight, just so we solidify the topic, is an understanding of a situation or event only after it has happened or developed. So, opposed to foresight, I guess, where you can see what might happen if you make a certain decision or events unfold.
Yeah.
And I brought it up with Nick and I said, "Oh, what's the bloody point of hindsight?" And he's like, "Regret," like as a joke. And like, yes,
Oh, yeah.
regret is something that can come about from hindsight. And I have certain regrets when I look back on decisions I've made. Absolutely. You can't
I think
every
we
anyone
all
who's I think
do.
anyone who says it, no regrets, that's BS and they're just sort of delusional. But
Absolutely.
um there are certain regrets, but and there are and I don't think hindsight is necessarily just about having regrets. It definitely I think you mentioned off air that it's about learning lessons,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Because I think we we do learn lessons from making decisions and doing things, and I think
Mm,
it also steers us in a direction that maybe we're supposed to be, like if it's meant to be, will be, or if it's like, we were meant to go down that path, or if we changed a decision, the whole path would completely change as well. So it's
mm,
kind of hard because yes, there are things we regret, but we learn from them.
right.
Um,
And I think
and
it gets so complicated when there's people involved in our decisions. Like usually, okay, it's not like okay, here's some examples. Like, okay, there's like a funny hindsight where for me personally, I there's this chocolate, right? Everyone knows
right.
dairy milk. There's this chocolate that is out. It's called caramel and people are obsessed with it and it's
Oh my
bloody
gosh, I've
delicious.
been
It's like,
dying to try this
oh,
chocolate.
Beck,
I
it's
haven't had it yet.
ridiculous. It's like it's like
Like
a mixture
white
of
chocolate and caramel.
and caramel, it kind of
Oh,
has this condensed
yum.
milk thing happening as well, which is a whole 'nother level of goodness. But anyway, people went nuts, right? It's currently selling on eBay for like 45 bucks a pack or something ridiculous. Oh,
What?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But listen, in hindsight, I probably should have bought many packs when I saw them on the shelf or in that petrol station, right? I didn't know they were gonna get discontinued or stop being manufactured or like there's gonna be some kind of shortage on it. I didn't know that, but in hindsight, I can look back and go, yeah, I probably should have bought a few packs because, they wouldn't maybe it was always like known it was kind of a limited edition. There's some beauty products that I always used and then, they just the what for whatever reason it was discontinued. I probably should
Yeah.
have bought a
Got
stash
more.
so I
I'm
would,
the
like, have
worst. I
you
always
know?
ponder everything until something's gone or like want to get something, but then I'm not sure. So I wait and I wait and I wait and it's just gone. Like I'll look back, it's the same thing every day of something I either want to get or I'm not sure. And I wait and I wait and it's gone.
Exactly. So
Um,
in hindsight, you probably should have, like, when you really had that feeling like you wanted it, you should have
yeah,
just gone and got it, right? Like,
exactly.
it's like that
Those are the
mascara
little
that you
hindsights.
it's like that mascara you put me onto. It was like,
Yes.
Amazing Lancome was it a
The
Lancome one? It was like
Lancome one.
yeah, it was like it had pink on it, pink writing, I can't remember what it was called. Anyway, I went back to Sephora to get it. Of course, all
None.
sold out,
Damn.
you
See,
know?
yeah, these are little hindsights of,
Okay, that's the
on the
basic
littlest scale.
that's the basic smallest level of hindsight where I can get
I
over it,
Yeah, no,
okay? But
I had a big hindsight today. It wasn't big, but it was pretty big of, and I actually said, "Oh, in hindsight."
Hmm,
So I literally had this moment today where we went to our storage unit because when we were in Australia, we put a whole lot of things in storage, thinking, "Oh, we'll come back here. Oh, we'll eventually move into our own apartment."
mm,
All of that stuff. And now, everything's gone. I mean, I'll get into that's a whole nother hindsight, but went to the
yes,
storage unit thinking, let's see if we can like get a smaller unit and take some stuff to the place we're staying right now
mhm,
temporarily. And we saw a small because I mean it ended up like when you're spending more a month on a storage unit than the stuff that's in there, you're like,
mm,
so
yeah,
we went and saw a smaller unit and it wasn't going to fit anything,
okay,
just nothing. So, we were like, okay, we're going to have to sell like a lot of some stuff, some furniture
mm.
and some things because, if we're
It's
not going to
costing
be
you
in a
more to
place for
keep
another
it.
6 months, exactly. It's costing us more to keep it. So, in hindsight, we should have
Mm,
sold it when we sold all our other stuff in our apartment last year. But
yeah,
no, we
yeah,
kept it to pay storage that we're now selling anyways, and it didn't
Oh,
need to be stored in the first place. And we've already spent more than what it's cost, than what a fridge is
oh,
and what a couch is, and now I'm like, we should have just sold it when we had our apartment last year. But anyway, so it's sitting there and now
that
we
is
have to sell it and
definitely
it's been a complete waste. Like 8, 9 months of just hundreds
just
and hundreds of thousands of dollars, like not thousands, but yeah, getting close to
hundreds,
that.
maybe to the
Hundreds and
thousands
yeah, at
of lost.
least
Yeah.
yeah, almost
And
yeah,
that's a big
2,000.
one, and that's a bigger one. That's something you
Yeah.
can probably recover from, but it's a big one
It's
because
yeah,
you
it's a bit
money,
annoying.
it's annoying, you're kicking yourself, and there's all these other external factors that had come into play
Yeah,
because
because
you
now we
thought one
just have
thing
to
was
try
gonna
sell
happen.
it now, and
Yeah,
when it's the people are on lockdown, not buying furniture and moving.
yes, although possibly, although you'll be surprised, like, for some reason people, or maybe, yeah, maybe not as much not as many rentals going on, or people not buying furniture, but you never know, if you put a good deal out there,
Yeah, I was trying
it
to
might just
now.
sell. People are doing a lot of home projects, so maybe they do wanna upgrade, hopefully, I'm
And get
being
a couple
hopeful.
things, hopefully,
But
but yeah, I
yes,
was just like,
that
"Damn,
is
I
a hard,
shouldn't have
yeah,
done this."
damn. Yeah, 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 that's a bigger one. Then there's, like, other bigger ones where, "Damn, shouldn't have gotten to that party and stayed up all night and drank or took drugs or
Oh,
whatever."
I think a lot of people
Um,
have that
you
feeling
know
after a big night out.
yeah, like, I yeah, shouldn't have, like, done that to my body, shouldn't have wasted all that time, it was a bad idea, maybe you made bad decisions, maybe you wasted the day after, maybe you felt really crap, maybe you got really ill from it, could have done something more productive with your time, you know, maybe not poison the only body that you had, whatever. That's another one, but that's something that's on you, you know? It's
Right.
got nothing to do with people, but the kind of hindsight I'm talking about is when, I
Like your
guess,
gut, like when your gut's telling you something, but you're
yeah, and
making a
it's mainly
decision.
about, yeah, and you're not the only one. You're not controlling any of the situation, as in you're relying on either other people or external factors, and this could be like in any context, personal, professional. A lot of what happened with even the pandemic or the global crisis that's happening now. For example, you were here,
Oh
people
my
wanted you to
gosh.
stay. You
Yeah,
did
I mean,
you needed to go in a way, but you
we
maybe
kind
could have
of
stayed.
did.
There
We could have stayed, like, when in hindsight, when I think about it, yes, we could have stayed, um, but I would have had to, like, extend visas, I would have had
Yeah,
to, um there were too many things left here that had to be, we that had to I regret it and then I don't at the
yeah,
same time. Like I do regret it because I was definitely like my gut was saying don't leave. I was
yes,
still recovering from surgery
yes,
and complications. So my gut was saying don't leave yet. I wish we waited another month. But like I said,
mhm,
in hindsight, then visas would have had to be extended. My green card that, I've spent 5, 6
thousands.
years getting thousands and thousands of dollars would have been forfeited. Um, we have car leases here. We have, things that would just not like we couldn't have just let them go and
Bureaucratically, you had
yes.
to return, or it was much too bureaucratically difficult if you didn't go back, but you
Yeah.
maybe could have stayed, but why do you not regret it? What did it teach you in hindsight, I
Mm,
guess?
wow. It
I
oh
guess
gosh.
you had to learn lessons about where you maybe you wanna be,
Possibly, or
or
where is
you
not
don't
good
wanna
to be,
be.
like a
Yeah,
living situation, just lots of things not working out completely. Everything's
yeah,
really
and people that you thought might have changed, didn't change potentially.
right. Yeah,
Um,
I think
Situations that you've been in before, you thought, "Oh, maybe it'll
oh,
be
maybe
okay
that's
this
of
time."
course. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
absolutely not. So in a
yeah,
sense, it's maybe taught us that it's a hard lesson to learn when you've flown your whole family
exactly.
back to another country, and now it didn't work out right now. But it's also it is regret. But I'm telling myself to be easy on myself because I think
Mm,
this year, because especially being a first time parent, um, this is not a usual situation we're
mhm,
in, and this year is somewhat of a write off. So if we have to
mhm.
take this year do what is best right now and then make decisions after, because clearly, nothing has gone to plan because everything has just collapsed globally,
Yeah.
just everything.
Mm.
So it's like, yes, regret. We
Mhm.
should have stayed put. I think regardless, we probably should have stayed in spite of all the things we needed to come back on. But um,
But
yeah, it's
the same
but
time, I like that you said that because 'cause I'm so hard on myself when things
well,
go
I still
in
I
my way, and
am, I am.
and I'm glad you said that because we should be easy.
We have
We
to be
should be
easy on ourselves
kind
right
to
now.
ourselves. We
Have
should be
to.
kind. Yeah.
This is not a normal circumstance at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
This None of this is like,
Mm.
and so going forth, even making decisions right now, and I'm like, should we do this? Should we not do it? And I just have to keep saying, you know what? Do what you think is best right now. This is not a usual circumstance. Do
Mhm.
what makes you happy. Who do you want to surround yourself with? Where do you
Yeah.
want to be right now?
Yeah.
Because when the world kind of goes back to normal, then you make the decisions, because this was not normal. And
Yeah.
I couldn't have foreseen this. If I
Right.
did, I would not have left. Who
Right.
could have foreseen this
And
to
I
this
feel
extent?
yeah, no, no one. And yeah, that's a big hindsight moment. And I'm glad that you're thinking in that way, and it's really like power to you, and it's healthy mentally to think that way and not let your regret or your lesson turn into like because often it can I can speak from personal experience, it can turn to kind of anger and bitterness about
Does,
it all.
absolutely. And I definitely went through those emotions at times during this whole, situation. I think it also shows that when you're dealing with people as well, like sometimes you give people a second chance, just in
Mhm.
general,
Mhm.
because why not?
Yeah.
And then you learn a lesson in hindsight. You
Oh,
learn the
yeah.
lesson about people again. They show themselves to you again, and when they do that for the second time or whatever, you've got to move forward or move past that, and not take, you know tolerate certain things anymore, just with situations and people. If a
God.
situation shows yourself or a person shows themselves to you again,
Mhm.
then then you've learnt your lesson.
Mhm.
Okay, you can regret, why did I do that? But you've learnt your lesson. You've seen the situation or the person play out, the way you thought expected, because your gut probably said, oh, this doesn't feel right. And then you make decisions from there.
Yeah, preach, word, like,
Yeah.
totally, and I feel this on so many parallels. We go through we I've been going through a similar, but completely different sort of practical example, but very similar in terms of my feelings and people showing themselves to me about who they really are and their true colors.
Yeah.
I
And
not listening to and having not listened to my instinct first time around, and you know what? I gave lots of chances, and I I didn't listen to my instinct once, and then I didn't listen to it again, and then I really, really tried so hard. I thought maybe, maybe it's just me, and I'll give these people a go.
no, it was your gut.
No,
Like,
it was all I was always right.
you
I
were
was
right, and that happens in
always right, and I
relationships,
can
it,
yeah,
in everything, like personal relationships, where we give a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a husband or whoever, a
yeah,
second chance, and then a third and a fourth and a fifth, and it can get really, you can get deep with this, like
yeah.
if they're taking verbal abuse, physical abuse, they still let them in, and then give them second chances, and then
Mm.
that's like, I shouldn't have done it. You do end up regretting certain things, or
Yeah, and
relationships you've had, or
yes. And in other contexts, like not listening to your instinct about people can have devastating effects. Like for me, I learned so much and it did have devastating effects in a way because yeah, like you said, it's not like abuse or anything, but it's actions that I've seen taken or patterns and words that I've heard and didn't, knew wasn't right, but
did
still
you
let
kind of just accept it?
yes. I
Yeah,
think I had to
yeah.
work within it. Like I had to accept it because I thought maybe I didn't have much of a choice. I definitely don't have much of a choice now, but what I learned so much in the last 2 months about myself, and or in one way, this whole this whole global awakening, as I'm gonna
Mhm.
call it.
Global awakening, yes.
Yeah, this global awakening really kind of it flushed out all this stuff. It just we had no choice but to be who we really are. And I
Absolutely.
don't want to be. I'm not going to get into to details, but I realized that I learned so much about myself. I had a lot of integrity personally, professionally, and I've been speaking a lot about it in therapy because I'm still doing virtual therapy, and it's like a value system that I hold dear that maybe others don't share. So there are certain lines that I guess I have some kind of value system inside where there's certain lines that if you cross with me, like I'm done, right? And I
Right.
maybe in the past have like kind of let it go once, let it go twice, but then it's like maybe there's like chances that I can give, and then once I see something really bad, I'm like,
Yeah,
"Boom,
done, you're
you're
done.
done."
Yep.
Right? And maybe other people I have to and I've learned through this that perhaps other people don't share. Obviously, everyone's different. They don't share that maybe that value system, and it's not like a judgmental thing or anything. It's just personal preference. Like I'll maybe give maybe an example, like how can I be disappointed when potentially someone shows me they're either a liar or, for example, like a suck up? Like,
Mhm.
you know, take for example a suck up or a shady character, right? Who panders to a certain person thinking they were gonna, I don't know, whatever, for whatever reason. They didn't want to really build a huge network or hustle or anything like that, right? And they spent years building up this phony relationship with just one person, right? Thinking maybe it's their meal ticket, where
Right.
like maybe my value system, I would never do that, and I have no respect for, like, a person that does that, right? But then on the other hand, that person had to work really hard at kissing ass like that, right? It took a lot of effort.
It was a different kind of working hard, but yes.
You know? Um, so, like, it's that kind of awareness and perspective that I'm sort of learning in hindsight, and I do believe there's a certain don't often see it, but, karma does come round, but that might be another topic, but in hindsight, like, it's very I acted how how I believed was right for me, and
Yep,
everyone needs to act how they feel is right for them, and, um, you know, I'm trying really hard not to let the true colors maybe that I saw in people who I thought maybe were friends, I would say, you know,
yep. Or
um,
acquaintances,
or
friends. Yep,
I feel like it's good because I got to see where they are or they stand as human beings in a way. And I thought my friends definitely not, and that's good because it's kind of like flushing out all unnecessary, those unnecessary maybe relationships that don't really have any meaning, like not
right.
meaningful and not
And
valuable.
totally. And you know what? Sometimes, like even with relationships, we keep relationships either because we've had them for so long, but that
Yeah.
shouldn't mean anything, or they're relationships that were not forced on, but it could have been work relationships, or it could be relationships, or like you're in a group setting and that person's always there, so it's like a friendship that you necessarily meet this person, but they're in the same group, or like it's different relationships, or as you grow you meet different people that come into your life that
Mm.
work for the moment or are good now.
Yes.
So
Yes.
sometimes
Or
you can
completely
flush you can
selfishly,
fl-
like
oh
yeah.
totally you can, so you can flush people every now and don't it sounds horrible, flush people, you can flush people out, but no, there are some people that don't resonate with you anymore. um
Mm.
you know
It begs the question, did I change? Do people
I
change
would hope
or did I
so. I think
change?
I would hope so because I would hope that, I mean, we grow. I wouldn't say change for the worse, but I would hope we are always growing and we're always kind of changing, not slightly changing. And
Mm,
maybe we're not maybe you're just decided to not take certain
yeah, I'm
people's
changing.
crap,
Yeah.
basically. You're
I've
not,
changed.
yeah.
Yeah.
But this is what happens sometimes, which I don't even know if this is we're talking about. But what happens sometimes is you're over someone's crap and you decide you're not going to take that anymore, or you need to set boundaries, and that person is not used to that. So they think you've changed, but you haven't
Mm,
really. You're just not taking their crap anymore, and you're not going to put yourself in a situation that you don't want to be in anymore. But they're like, hey, but you used to do that. You were my punching bag before, and now you're not. Like, what's happened? Um,
yeah,
so in hindsight, um, it's just that yes, you've changed, but
and they
and they
haven't changed,
haven't
but they
changed.
you've set boundaries and they
You set
dislike that
boundaries.
because wait, they could walk all over you before. They were fine with the and oh my god, like, I just like, there's a certain situation that they even, like, said something along the lines of, you know, I'm a lamb to the slaughter," and I'm not a lamb,
Whoa,
I'm a lion. I'm
you
not a
are a
lamb.
lion.
They might have thought I was a lamb, but I'm not.
Maybe you were a lamb, or
I'm
or
not
they thought you
anymore.
were, but you're not anymore, and you're allowed not to be a lamb. You can be
Yeah,
whoever you want, basically.
yeah,
You can
yeah,
change however many times you want. You can, like having standing up for yourself and making changes is not a bad thing. Like that's why we have these hindsight moments or moments of regret, or
exactly.
because the next time certain situations happen, we've learnt from them and then we don't do the same thing anymore.
Oh, yeah, I can easily now it's like it's almost like this whole situation that, obviously there's, you know, certain situations that have happened. It's almost like this has brought that feeling I have so much to the forefront, like, "Oh, it's so loud now, I can't ignore it." Like, if I meet someone else like that, it's gonna be noticeable from a mile away, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Whereas before it was, like, kind of noticeable, but you're like, "Eh,
I
how
just
bad could it be?"
exactly like I just think yes,
Well,
no
it's been pretty
regrets and
bad.
whatever, but we're all gonna have situations where we're like, damn, I should have done this, or damn, I should have done that. But okay, now I've learnt from this, or I just we're always gonna have that moment of because you're always gonna have to make choices in life
Yeah. Exactly, and we can say
of
potentially that I
what
feel
to
like
do.
from the yeah, I feel like from this we can definitely say that it hindsight can lead obviously this can lead to some regrets and lessons learned, but mainly, it's about building your intuition, don't you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. I mean, the thing is sometimes I feel like going with my gut and my emotions take over, so I'm not sure, am I just emotional about deciding to do this or not wanting to do this, or is it my gut telling me not to do it? Like it just, obviously even just leaving Australia, at the time, my gut was like, oh, I don't want to leave, but I was also emotional because I was going to be leaving my family and I was, enjoying my time in Oz and all that stuff. But then it's kind of hard to make. You got to make decisions. You got to think with your head, think with your gut and head. How do you do that together? I don't really know because I'm just generally an emotional kind of
I think
person.
I think I totally now believe that that emotion is just as powerful and strong that you should listen to it. Like, that's that's nothing to not
But do you
act
think you
on.
should be listening to your head at the same time? Like there's logic as
I
well
think
that has to
yeah,
go with
yeah,
it.
but you can act from an emotional place of your gut in a logical way. You can take that whatever it is that
Take the yeah,
I took all my frustration, my stress, my anger, and I used it to fuel me in the decisions and actions that I made going forward. I used it as a positive rather than a negative, if that makes sense. Like for me, I
yeah.
could have wallowed and been petty and like,
Mm,
gone down a dark hole of woe is me, but I used all that anger to make logical decisions about how to act, like use that integrity to like, okay, maybe I had to go to the source. I had to go to the horse's mouth. I had to confront people. I had to call people up. I had to make meetings. In your situation, maybe you were using that emotion of not leaving, like thinking, hang on, why am I feeling this way?
yeah,
Maybe this is where I really want to be.
Yeah.
Maybe I've gotta do
Or
all this
maybe
cra
it's not time yet. Like, you
maybe
know
it's
what I
not time
mean?
and
And
maybe I do have to go through all this administrative bureaucratic stuff and just gotta fill out the papers and maybe we could do something where I could stay, like, take action to
yeah,
f take action, use your emotion to fuel the action
yeah,
in a logical way, not, not in a out, lashing out way. Does that make s
totally.
that
Yeah, no, it
that's what I've
does.
learned. Yeah.
And I think, like, if anything is, if this has taught us anything, it's at the end of the day, like, life is short. You want to be happy. How are you wanting to spend your days? Happy? Make decisions that, and you don't need to ponder too long. Like, just do whatever you're going to do to make you feel good and happy. Like, because, yeah, life is short.
Yeah.
Time
As
goes
long as
fast.
you're
Time
not
goes by
hurting.
too quickly.
Yeah, if you're not hurting anyone and you're speaking the truth because the
Hmm.
truth also is important in these cases. It's the facts,
You're being true to yourself.
Yeah, you're being true to yourself, but not acting in a selfish way, and acting with the truth at hand that you have in front of you in a very factual way. You're gonna do what's best for you. That's gonna work out. You're gonna feel better about yourself and your decisions going forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I
Sense.
think I think we've feel like we've beaten this one. I feel confident about hindsight.
You feel, yeah. Well, I think we're all going to have these moments all the time, but it's just not sitting in that regret of, oh, okay, yeah, should have done that. All right, well, I won't do that next time. Move it on. Or, oh,
Exactly.
yeah, that decision, yeah. But you know what? In hindsight, la 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 la, there's a silver lining. You know,
Mm.
it just, yeah. I think we're all going to have moments like that. But
Yeah, it's constant learning. It's not over yet.
constant learning,
There'll be more,
constant growth.
but you know what? I feel more confident that I can not have to go through stress, the darkness or the stresses in trying to learn that lesson. I think it's a little bit easier each time as long as you trust your intuition that you're
And
building.
also not give people too much power.
No,
Um,
don't give them any.
Don't give them any
You're
power. Yeah.
No, it's all on
You
you.
have the power. Yeah, exactly.
Empower
You've got the
yourself.
power.
It's
Yes.
all on you, empower yourself. You I know it's cheesy, but it's true.
But it's true. I love to
What is it? Don't hitch your cart to the don't hitch your cart to the wrong wagon, hitch it to your own wagon.
yeah, or beat to your own drum. But yeah, would love to hear your thoughts on this one. So please like, comment,
Subscribe.
subscribe, um, you know, let us know what you think about this subject, and we will be back with more episodes coming soon. We'll chat
Yay,
to you
thanks.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Can we say it? Can we say it?